not awful, but not brilliant at it. It's selfishly driven on the fact that I have this weird thing. Hello, I'm Hayden Bloomfield. Today we're talking about therapy. Reason I'm touching on this is at the time of recording, I start therapy this week. I literally start on Friday. I have my first therapy session, and so I want to talk into the reasons behind why I'm doing it, the stigma attached to it, and I was going to say the response I've had, but I haven't really spoken to anyone. Actually, no, I've mentioned it to a few people and they're quite open to it, but exploring how I anticipate conversations going, and it'd be great to get feedback just on if you've had therapy and how you've found it, if it's helped, but also have you told people and how's that conversation gone? Because like for me, I'm starting therapy just based around the idea that I find I'm growing, my mind is learning, I've got a lot I want to learn, I'm all over the place, I've always got a load of ideas going on, I've done various different things in terms of studying my own mindset and those like different like disc profiles you can do to see what kind of person you are. So I've got a good understanding of like the type of mind I have, the type of brain I have, how I work, what inspires me, what motivates me, what doesn't inspire me, and what doesn't motivate me, and how I know like how people should communicate with me to get what they want from me, or rather to get the best of the conversation. But despite being so into psychology and so into interacting with people, I'm very social. I like to be engaging with people and interacting with people, but I seem to be not awful, but not brilliant at it at times. And so the whole exercise around therapy is looking at those interactions. How can I be a better person essentially, and how can I get a better clarity of thinking around, as I said, I've bounced all these different ideas. So how can I get a better clarity of thinking? How can I become a better communicator, especially when it comes to like my girlfriend, being able to say things without annoying her. So that's a big challenge. We definitely got to work on that one. And I suppose like there's this stigma around you have to be broken to have therapy. I hope it's not there, but it's definitely something that I've seen and become familiar with growing up, and just the conversations around therapy when people had it and have reflected and shared their anecdotes around therapy. It was all around a time when they were quote broken or not in a strong mental state. So it's all about fixing the problem. And so my intentions with starting isn't around fixing a problem. It's just about identifying key strengths and weaknesses in myself and looking at how to increase the strengths and how to reduce the weaknesses really. And it's selfishly driven on the fact that I want to be a better person. I want to build great wealth. I want to have a great lifestyle. I want to have a lot of fun. And it's what doors and opportunities can this open by having therapy? How can it make me, as I said, a better communicator? If I'm able to walk in a room of loads of potential investors in an idea I have, if I've had therapy and it's increased my communication skills, then I'm going to have a much better chance of success than without it. But selflessly as well, just because I suppose this is selfish and selfless, but in the sense that I want to create a personality that I can increase. Like when I think of my interactions with people, I want to ensure that it's a positive one and that people walk away going, that was a great interaction. And I've even found myself observing things like this, just little things that people say, just like, for example, the tiniest little things of like, I'm going somewhere for the day and I just think, oh, who of my mates will be keen to come along, and I just drop a message to a few people. And just little things like going, oh, sorry, I'm busy today, but yeah, I really appreciate you inviting me along. Thanks for thinking of me. Like someone responded to that, and I know full well that just in my mind of rushing and just like being as swift as I can with things, I'll be like, no, I'm busy, sorry, or whatever. But to actually take the time and go, no, I appreciate you inviting me though. That's great of you. I got that message. I was like, oh, it's great. It's great. I just thought, oh, that's just like one example of something that can create a more of a positive experience for someone. And I've noticed as well, just in my ability to introduce and make introductions, I have this weird thing. I don't know if anybody else has it, so like the video if you do, or comment, let me know. When you introduce two people, you have this weird thing in your head where you've definitely don't know their name, but you do. It's like someone you've known for like 15 years, and you're like, oh, Bob, I'll introduce my friend Bob to my friend Jane. And you're like, oh, my friend Bob. And you're just like, you go to introduce them, and you're like, is it Bob? I've known him for years, but is it Bob? It's definitely Bob. Bob meet Jane meet Bob, and you just sort of come across like an idiot, really. So that's definitely something I can improve on. And as well, going on the selfish drive is just increased empathy. Because I feel, despite the fact I've read, not huge amounts, but I've read a lot on psychology, the brain, and it's something I'm currently studying and trying to improve my understanding of. But I feel I can be a bit, and that's because people tell me, I can be a bit almost robotic and lack that sort of human connection or the human empathy, a strong way to really understand someone's situation. And so that's definitely a flaw that I need to work on, and that's all part of therapy, is looking at how can I work on this, how can I become more empathetic and gain a higher emotional intelligence to be able to communicate with people a lot better. So I'm quite excited. I've signed up for 10 sessions. I've set, and it's as well, the cool thing is, like, in knowing that I'm gonna have the therapy, is that I've sort of started aligning, like putting goals in place. So like I've set a lot of goals and plans for March next year to achieve by the end of March next year, which is when my birthday is. When I get older. So yeah, I've set 7 or 8 goals. I can't remember how many it is. 7 or 8 goals to achieve, and I've really, just knowing that I know I'm gonna have to go into a lot of detail about these, it's really got me thinking a lot more in depth about each goal I've set, of like, why have I set it? Why do I want it? Is it intrinsic? Is it extrinsic? Am I doing this because it's what Hayden wants, or am I doing this because I'm like, if I get that Tesla, people are going to think I'm really cool. No, I really want a Tesla. So I'm really looking forward to it. I'm really excited, and I'm hoping it's going to be a very good, positive experience. So yeah, have you had therapy? What did you think of it? Was it helpful? And with this stigma, is it still there? Is it going? I mean, it's definitely still there in a lot of places, because I think in a lot of very like old traditional masculine scenarios, if I was like, I'm going to get therapy, I'm not going to repeat the insults I would receive. So how do we fix this stigma? Oh, that's a whole different video. But yeah, so have you had therapy? How did it work? And what was the conversation like when you told people, and if you did or didn't? And if you didn't, why didn't you? Would you be afraid to tell people? Because it's something that I think, therapy, I think, is something that every human being would benefit from. I can't imagine anyone I've met that wouldn't, because it's just a way just to have someone that's professionally trained in, I suppose, deep conversation around people's inner thoughts. Just for anybody to have that conversation with someone, to have that close bond, and just get that unbiased feedback around this is a completely safe, open zone for one to share all their inner thoughts, regardless of what they are, and to have someone to just listen and then feed back to you from a professional standpoint, as I said, completely unbiasedly. Like problems with your girlfriend, problems with your parents, problems at work, whatever it is, problems with your childhood, like, and all the things that so like the challenges I talk about are definitely going to stem from my childhood somewhere, because it's just at that time when we're young and we're growing, we're sponges, we're just absorbing everything, and obviously I've absorbed something. It could be from one small experience, it could be from a lifetime of an extended experience. So it's very interesting. It'd be good to understand myself better, and I think, but as I said, I think that can be a huge benefit to everybody. So I will keep you updated on how it goes. It's exciting. See ya.